Hello everyone, on Redmond's Football Report. It's another day today, and this is myself, Redmond, if you're new to the show, and here's Martin, my dad.
You're not going to tell them what they can call me today?
Martin.
But, okay.
That's what you can call my dad.
Anyway, it's a Friday. It's wet and miserable where we are. I can just about see the sea from the window, but I can see a lot more rain than sea at the moment. We have got our results from the previews for the week, or the midweek, and then we've got our predictions for the weekend. So, will we get going with the results?
Yes.
Okay. So, we will start with... Let me turn off the webcam before you do damage. Going down through our list in the Euros, I was watching Turkey against the Netherlands. That was an incredible game. 4-2 with a missed penalty. Neither of us saw Turkey winning it. A hat-trick for a 35-year-old. It had everything short of a sending off. Cracking game. Paris Saint-Germain's women lost to Olympique Lyonnais in the Women's Champions League. We'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes with the rest of the Champions League scores. We have Liverpool FC of, what's the name of the place? Uruguay beat Torquay 4-1. Easy win for them. Torquay now currently third, while Peñarol are in second place.
And Liverpool are first?
Liverpool are first. They've won that league at this point.
Yeah.
Guatemala did manage to stick with the odds and beat Cuba 1-0, in spite of Cuba having its newest, bestest team. I think Cuba are playing Curacao in the next game, while I don't know if Guatemala are playing Vincent the Grenadines, but Cuba have made probably a better result in that game than they have done in most recent games. Tajikistan hammered Mongolia 3-0, shocker. South Africa held Ghana, potential shocker depending on your perspective, but a result that Ghana won't be unhappy with, I suspect. Curacao waltzed through Vincent and the Grenadines. I think Gus Hinting probably was able to come on and score at that rate. 5-0, big score. The Ireland-Serbia game was a cracking game. Ireland played really well, which was nice for a change, but not enough in the end.
Ireland actually got 2 goals.
Yeah, we got 2 goals. You should watch these games that you're supposedly watching, and then you'd know. I mean, Serbia had a front three that were incredible, and Dusan Tadic was out of this world, as he often is. Set up all 3 goals. Mexico's under-23s beat USA's under-23s 1-0. Both teams go through to the next round. We'll be talking about that later. And the USA's senior team hammered Jamaica 4-1. Serginho Dest and Leggett doing the bulk of the damage. I think Aronson scored another goal as well. Good performance for the USA in that game. Admittedly, against a much weaker team.
In their senior game, not with grown-ups?
Yeah, that was the senior game with grown-ups.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Moving from that to this. Let me see if I can do this right. Yes. Here we go with the results of the Women's Champions League. Barcelona 3, Manchester City 0. A shock for everybody who follows far too much English football. The way they've talked them up, anyone would think, I would have thought, that they were surely going to beat Barcelona. But no, 3-0, all up to Man City in the second leg. Chelsea got a very good 2-1 win over Wolfsburg. But again, Wolfsburg will probably come back and take that tie. Paris Saint-Germain surprised by Olympique Lyonnais on their own ground. Again, I don't know what's the score with the COVID issues there, but Olympique Lyonnais take in a precious away goal and a win to their home leg. Bayern Munich, as expected, strolled through Rosengård 3-0. Should be a formality the second leg, but you never know. You never know what can happen in football. Okay, you ready to be shown again, Redmond? Redmond? Words?
Hi.
Thank you for absolutely nothing there. Sit up properly and be a part of the podcast. Let me check our analytics. We're hoping that we get a few more people in today. And so far, it looks like it's not actually streaming. So we could be in trouble there. Anyway, let's get on to our game of the week. And for once, I've got my act together and we've got a game of the week and a goal of the week. The goal of the week was fairly straightforward. John McGinn's bicycle kick to make it a 2-2 draw in Hampton as Scotland held the Austrians to a 2-2 draw at home. Should Scotland be doing better? Yes. Did Scotland do better? No, they never do. Why do you think that? Here's Redmond. Oh, God, ads. I thought we were going to actually get a chance to watch it. You tell me when you've seen the goal. Game of the week, I reckon, was in the African Cup of Nations qualifying, and maybe not game of the week, but as most controversial game of the week at least. Zambia 3, Algeria 3. Kind of a shocking game. Apparently the referee was having a nightmare, or maybe a paid mare. He gave 2 penalties to Zambia, which certainly Algerian fans reckoned may not have been legit. That includes the equaliser as well at an appropriate time. Again, the argument is... I just saw the goal. And what did you think of the goal? Should everybody watch the goal? You can't show it. We don't have the copyright for that. Sit up and join in. Come on. This is your report, not mine. I'm happy to switch off now if needs be.
Nope.
Anyway, 3-3. Away result for Algeria. They had pulled 3-2 ahead up until the 82nd minute, I think, when a penalty was given to Zambia. They're up in arms, but of course the best tweet of the night, I think, is the one where Zambian fan was saying, "Hey guys, we appreciate that you think we might have bought the referee, but we don't have the money to buy shirts." So that's our game of the week and our goal of the week. Ready to preview some games?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to run around and we're going to start with my pick first, or one of my picks. It's the World Cup Qualifier taking place on Sunday. As always, for those of you who are new to this, we try to give at least one game for every region, then we pick our favourites, his and mine. His favourites normally include some of his favourite teams like the USA for internationals, or either of the Juventus teams, Barcelona or Liverpool. Intl Turku is sort of a joint favourite, and I generally pick Watford or Ireland, and if neither of those are playing, I go for something that looks odd, but wouldn't be a headline game.
An interesting game.
An interesting game. Not necessarily a fun game, but something that's intriguing. So one of my picks this week are guessable. Ireland play Luxembourg on Sunday. Now, Ireland had a very good performance in that 3-2 defeat if the result was bad. We've watched Ireland be poor and not play interestingly or excitingly for a while. This game, they looked hard done by not to at least draw. Ireland were at 42nd prior to this break, Luxembourg at 98th, but the Luxembourg are not the unquestioned underdogs in this group for a change. Azerbaijan, who are placed 108th, would in theory be the bottom seed. But it also must be noted that Azerbaijan only lost 1-0 to Portugal on the same day, and that was an own goal. Ronaldo did not play well in that game, but nevertheless you would expect a team like Portugal to do better than a 1-0 win. I think that game was in Baku. Luxembourg, it being a group of 5 rather than 6, Luxembourg played against Qatar. Qatar are playing the teams in this group when the teams who have a game off, if you like. So Ireland have a couple of games against Qatar coming up. I think one next week maybe. Oh, so we get a friendly in. That's not a bad thing. We haven't seen Luxembourg play. They lost 1-0 to a team that's presumably travelled quite a distance to play the game. I'd fancy our chances. Redmond, what do you think is going to be the score? Luxembourg against Qatar.
Ireland 1. Luxembourg 1.
Okay, you tore the arse out of it, as you always do. I'm going to go for 3-0 to Ireland. Hopefully a clean sheet and some goals. Next up, we go back to Asia and back to Mongolia because they are the only team playing any qualifying games, or playing qualifying games plural, this weekend in Asia, as they were midweek. This time they're doing the hosting, and they're hosting Japan. Japan are 27th in FIFA rankings. They're 2 points clear of everybody else on 12 points. Having played 4 games, they've got 2 games in hand on Tajikistan, who are next up, who are on 10 points. I mean, there was very few positives I could pull for Mongolia from the game against Tajikistan. Mongolia are 190th, so that they only lost 3-0 to the team in the 120th. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. That they only lost to the team that by 3-0 to the team in the 120th. Is that good? Japan have 13 goals and none conceded after 4 games. After 5, Mongolia have 2 and 13. So this is only going one way. Redmond, Mongolia against Japan. What's the score?
Mongolia 0, Japan 0.
I can see we put a lot of work in this week. I'm going to go with 3-0 win to Japan because they have to travel. Sit up. Are you joining us, or will we just shut the show now? Well, will you be part of it? There's somebody watching. They want to see what you've to say about things. So maybe you could join in. That would be nice. Right. Moving on to Africa, and we're going to look at Benin against Nigeria. Yes, Benin. Who has ever talked about Benin on the international stage before? Well, in this African Cup of Nations qualifier with 4 games played out of 6, Benin are only a point behind Nigeria in the quest to top the group and go through to the next round. I think it's straight through to the group stages of the African Cup of Nations. I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I believe that the second place teams go into a playoff. I had known this, and for some reason it's blanked on me now. This, it has to be said, is not a classic Nigeria side. They're 36th on the FIFA rankings, which is below a lot of teams that you would expect traditionally to be not as good as them. Almost their entire squad is in Europe. I think they've got a couple of players in Qatar or Saudi Arabia. Very few on the team, though, are significant outside of their own nation. As in, you might be playing for a big team in Scotland or Qatar, but you're not playing for a big international team. I think there's a player from who's with Napoli there. I can't remember who the other one is. Benin, for contrast, are 82nd, and probably 3/4 of them are not in Benin. But no one is in a top squad in their country, never mind anything else. In some cases, a lot of them aren't even on major squads in their country, like second or third tier. I think there's a lot of French second tier teams represented there. Not too sure exactly how many of these are not, or what's the word I'm looking for, are born there. Again, the diaspora is coming to the rescue with a lot of African nations at the moment. Redmond, Benin against Nigeria, not Niger. What do you think the score is going to be?
Benin 0, Nigeria. Surprisingly, 2 goals.
Well, I wanted to say the same thing, but I can't, so I'm going to say 2-1 to Nigeria, and we'll see what happens there. Let's shift pace, and we're going to the W League for our Women's Game of the Week, as we look at Melbourne victory against Perth Glory. We're coming to the end of the season now. A lot of the teams have already played their final game. So we're rounding up the W League as such. I do want to bring attention to the best story of the week, which was the other Melbourne team, Melbourne City, former champions a couple of times. One of their players, Riley Dobson, played her last game. I think she scored a goal, which, if you were to believe Wikipedia, is only the third. You just can't either join in or participate. What are you doing?
None of your business.
Well, everybody's watching.
Trying to get my chair.
Okay. Riley Dobson at Melbourne City played her last ever game. Her long-term partner, Matt, is suffering with brain cancer. And she scored in her last ever game for Melbourne City as they won 2-1. Can't remember who they were playing. Maybe it was Adelaide. It doesn't matter. Either way, at the end, we closed in on her as it was her last game, and she went over to her boyfriend, Matt, and they were chatting away for a while. The people, the commentator was saying that she'd asked Matt to marry her a couple of times, but he'd refused in the past. Probably to do with him having brain cancer and not wanting to sort of tie her up. But this time, at the end of the game, he asked her and produced a ring. And it was like this amazing experience watching this on the screen. That is not going to be beaten in terms of a big story, an emotional story in the W League this week. But there are other stories to have. For example, Perth are playing against Melbourne Victory. They've a single point from the season so far, and I think this is their last game, so this is their last chance to score anything. Melbourne Victory, in contrast, have 2 games remaining to get 2 points. They're on 20 points currently, 2 points behind Canberra, who drew with Sydney FC during the week. So they get into the playoffs if they win this game, or if they win either of these games. If they draw both games, they should get into the playoffs on goal difference, presuming they use that. So there is something to play for there. 4 teams into the playoffs. They're currently in 5th. Redmond, Melbourne Victory against Perth Glory. What do you think the score is going to be?
0-0.
0-0. Wow, you are such a ray of excitement and light. And everybody's wondering why your head is down. Want to tell anyone why your head is down?
No idea.
You just sulking?
No.
What do you think, folks? Should we stop the show now because Redmond's not in the mood?
No.
Okay, well then be a part of the show maybe. Does that sound wild? Be a part of it, Redmond. I'll just walk away and switch it off if you're not interested in being a part, because this is your show. But you aren't though, are you? 2-0 to Melbourne Victory, I'm saying. Over to one of Redmond's favourite teams. Juventus women play Pink Bari in the Serie A Femminile. This is top versus bottom. Bari have a single win and 3 points. Juventus have won all of their 16 games so far. Bari have scored 8 goals and conceded 43, while Juventus almost have the reverse, having scored 49 and conceded 8. Juve won the earlier fixture 4-0 in Bari. And they have a break after this. There'll be no game after this until the 18th of April when they play Sassuolo in 3rd, and then they've got the Cup. Second leg of the Cup semi-final against Roma. They're down 2-1 in that one. On the 24th, a week later. Redmond. Juventus women, Pink Bari.
4-0 Juventus.
Okay, I have to outdo that and go 6.
Brother.
So that we aren't the same. Or we aren't on the same.
Brother.
We're going to look at one of my teams now, and we will look at Waterford United. Waterford FC against Sligo.
Against Sligo.
Go on.
Sligo. Sligo got a descent.
Decent.
Still no.
Draw with Dundalk. You'll have to look up here.
Dundalk last week, and the Blues lost.
He's having to read my tiny scribble here. There's still no sign of a kit for the year for Waterford. We didn't have a sponsor for the game last week against Drogheda. With just this white shirt and white socks. There's some people wondering, will it be all white again this game? So yeah, it's our first home game. Hopefully we're wearing blue. Are you going to join?
Yes.
Okay. Waterford did not look great from the bit I saw of them last week. But it is the first game. It is a new manager. It is a very new squad. So it'll take time. But I'm not optimistic about this game. Redmond, what do you think? Waterford against Sligo.
2-1 Sligo.
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 Sligo. That draw against Dundalk is a good start. And this is a year that I can't remember if Dundalk are in Europe or not. I think they missed out. And Dundalk are in and Sligo aren't. Anyway, back to the international scene. A couple of friendlies now. Chile against Bolivia, which may or may not happen, is our CONMEBOL game of the week, because I wanted to stick with the internationals. But again, there are no internationals. They've all been postponed in South America, except for Bolivia, which may or may not be happening, because this is taking place on the Saturday, and then 2 days later, on the Monday, Bolivia are also scheduled to play, also away, to Ecuador.
Ecuador.
So either or neither of these games might happen. So let's just take the opportunity to focus on Bolivia for a change. Bolivia are 79th ranked in the world, in contrast to Chile, who are 17th, or Ecuador, who are 57th. They've been to 3 World Cups in 1930 and 1950 and in the US in 1994, and they went out in the group stages of all of them. In 1994, the one I can remember, they managed to draw with South Korea. They lost to Spain, and in the very first game of that World Cup, they were lost 1-0 to a 61st minute goal from Jurgen Klinsmann. They've not been back since. They've not been close since, really. Their current squad is pretty much all Bolivian. There's 2 in Chile and 1 in Brazil, but according to Wikipedia's latest squads, that's what they have. Their best player, who's in their top 10 of most capped and is their leading scorer of all time, is the 33-year-old Marcelo Moreno. He's at Cruzeiro in Brazil, so he's the big name there, I suppose. But looking forward to the future, you could look at this 25-year-old Swiss-born Boris Cespedes at Servette, or perhaps a player who's just recently signed this spring by Spal in Italy, Jaume Cuellar. Either of those could be the future. What do you think is going to happen in this friendly, Redmond?
I think it's going to be 2-0 to Chile.
I can't see Bolivia winning it. They do best at altitude, which is why they've been starting to win home games. 3-1 to Bolivia is what I think.
You mean Chile?
Sorry, to Chile, yeah. And Bolivia to lose. Either way, as far as we're concerned. If they play. Other international friendly for the week. Northern Ireland against USA in presumably Windsor Park in Belfast. Though they could honestly play it in solitude. That's a ground in Belfast belonging to Cliftonville. Not an actual, playing it on their own. This is 45th against 22nd in the world in the definition of the meaningless friendly because...
Who's 45th?
The Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland do need a boost though, especially after losing to Italy the other night. The US need games in their legs because they have their games coming up.
Big issue, the Olympic mistakes IMO.
I'll explain that in a minute. The US have games in June coming up. They've played a couple of games already this year, and they will play possibly more before they face Honduras in the semi-finals of the CONCACAF Nations League, before then presumably starting to think about World Cup qualifiers after they play the final of that, if they beat Honduras. I think the big issue here is that the US have made a mistake, or potentially made a mistake. They play, and we'll talk about this in a minute, in the semi-finals, or the, if you like, final of qualifying for the Olympics, and they need that more than winning a friendly. I think they should have brought players along. Either way, their last game was a big 4-win win over Jamaica. Christian Pulisic did not play particularly well in that game at all, to be honest. Sebastian Leget, I'm not too sure how it's pronounced, so sorry, and Serginho Dest are doing really well. They also had a good performance from the newly finalised or confirmed player, Yunus Musa, who's currently with Valencia. So, who do you think is going to win, Redmond? USA against Northern Ireland?
2-1. USA. Northern Ireland will kind of get a boost, but not really. The US don't really put out many good players, so because they want some new players on the field, and they see what's going to happen. And Northern Ireland put out their best team, but America has some quite good players on them, and they put them on, and then 2-1 goes to US.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave it at 3-1 to US, but that was good content, Redmond. Always good to hear you giving your thoughts on these things. Finally, for the week, on the, I think, subsequent days, but it looks like the same day almost here, the 29th and the 30th of March at 3 hours a.m., if you like, in Central European time, and 12 hours 30, not 12 hours 30, on the 28th and the 29th, not the 29th and the 30th. At 23 hours, Honduras under-23s play US's under-23s. And at 3 hours, which is presumably 4 hours later. Mexico under-23s play Canada's version of the same in the Olympic qualifying. And now this is the big show. The semi-finals are actually more important than the final here, because if you win the semi-final, you are definitely into the World Cup. The Olympics. If you win the final, nice. But this is what it's all about.
The semi-final.
Yeah.
It's like the semi-final has switched from the semi-final to the final.
It is.
Because you're definitely going to get to the Olympics, and if you can get it, you are going to be really, your country is going to be very happy with you.
They are. So we have Honduras against the US. The US's defeat to Honduras lost narrowly to Mexico in the last group game, while Honduras and Canada played out a questionable draw. Having known that El Salvador would need one or other team to lose by a big score, they seem to have just walked through it. I think it was a case of Honduras scored in the 28th minute and Canada scored in the 30th. It sounds like a done deal to me. Mexico have looked strong, but they haven't looked like they've even really stretched themselves so far. Honduras are very tightly structured, as you would expect, and they will be hard to break down. Canada have played 3 and seen 3 goals in total. So, yeah, it's very hard to see Canada going through against... Please leave that down. Please leave that down. Yes. Thank you. Very hard to see Canada going through. This is definitely not the strongest side that the US could have had, but I don't think they had their strongest side playing against Mexico either, for that matter. Were they standing off a bit? Apparently the goal was down to defensive lapses, so leave that down. Do I have to say it again? Oh, God.
No.
There's only one word, 2 letters in no. Jason Kreis is running the US team, so he knows his way around football. Can he know his way to the Olympics? All rests on that big Honduras game. Redmond.
I think
Mexico against Canada first.
I think Mexico can slip through, because that little boost of those not great players could mean they could have more strength and get some good goal off Canada. Canada can't get any goals off them, and it's going to get really tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm guessing you're guessing 1-0 Mexico.
Yeah, you're guessing 2-0.
I'm guessing 2-0. I think Mexico will get through, get a couple of goals early and then coast. To be honest, I think Mexico take it easy and just enjoy the win. Honduras against the USA.
I have no thinking of Honduras winning against the USA. Just they can't make it this year.
Okay,
they can try to do it next year, but America's going to do it this year.
United
States with a 2-0 win to USA.
I do not share your confidence. My suspicion, to be frank, is that Honduras' tight defence is going to prove too much. And I think it's going to end out being a 1-1 draw after 90 minutes. What happens in extra time will be down to who didn't burn up their players too much or who had the better use of substitutes in the previous game, I think. Anyway, those are our predictions.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say before we finish up?
Well, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. And also buy on Redmond's Football Report.
See you again. Here's our previews for the week.